we're back.
Hey.
Dear God Ministries with Leah and Josie. And today we have our dear friend, Emmy. Emmy with us.
Emmy.
Hi, Emmy. Move that mic a little closer to your mouth, girl.
Hi.
We want to hear that voice.
It's just a little, okay, no, it's fine.
No, it's good. It's good.
It's fine.
It's fine. We've been sitting here. Well, one, we're in a very hot building and it's starting to get
Full sweaty.
woo.
Emmy's got her fan.
That summer heat's about to hit.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a little stuffy up here.
I have to do just morning podcasts.
Yeah, seriously.
And that afternoon might get a little rough.
Yeah.
Unless
for a
we get
while.
some window airs, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Well, hopefully,
Yeah.
I think we're supposed to be getting that before Wednesday.
yeah.
This coming Wednesday is our first worship night in this building. And our husbands were up here and they're like, well, this is stuffy. This is
Yeah.
hot. And we're like, yeah. And they're like, and you're going to have how many people here on Wednesday? And so they were like, we should probably put some window airs in.
Yeah.
And we're like, I
Yeah.
thought.
At
Bless
least to take
them.
the bite off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be like this super cool, but like,
Yeah.
at least
But
to
like,
take that bite
you can be
Yeah.
standing or swaying
and not be sweating.
dripping
yeah.
sweat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or there's going to be a lot of just people sitting on the floor
Yes.
not moving.
On their
Dehydrated.
face.
Are they worshiping or are they dehydrated?
You might have to like tap a couple
Yeah.
of people and be
Yeah.
like, are you
good? Yeah.
By the time this episode comes out, we'll have passed the
Yeah.
worship night.
Oh yeah.
So it's making
Yeah.
me laugh because I'm like, hopefully they don't see pictures of that on the social.
Just people in ruins. The spirit of the Lord was strong.
You might have to put a disclaimer. Nobody was hurt.
Yeah,
No
in the
one was
making and the
hurt.
process of the worship night.
Just a little warm. You know,
funny.
people like hot yoga.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
And I actually did try it once. I'm not
Which
gonna
is
lie.
wild.
I went through this time of being like, I'm gonna get fit, but I wanted to do it like just your body weight, right? Like yoga,
Oh, sure, yeah, yeah.
Pilates.
Mhm. Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I didn't want to
yeah.
use machines or weights.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was in my like real crunchy phase.
Yeah.
And I lived in there for a couple of years there. I
Green
mean,
smooth
you didn't
ass.
know me then. And so at once I'm like, I should try hot yoga. And so I go into the studio. It is blazing hot in there instantly. The first like move, I can't remember
You're
what
a
it is.
sweater too.
I'm a huge sweater.
Yeah.
No one else is. Everyone's just like enjoying it. And I'm just
and you're like,
dripping. I'm
is
like,
this?
this isn't for me.
This isn't
Literally my worst nightmare.
Oh.
Like I'm a sweater too,
Oh,
so
I
I'm like
sweat.
I do everything I can when it's hot,
yeah.
or I just avoid hot in
Yeah,
general
yeah.
because I don't want to be the one that's like, do you have a paper towel?
Yeah.
Do you have like can you turn
Yeah.
the fan on? Can you like turn?
Yes. Or I'm the one who wears black in summer because I'll
Yeah.
sweat through my clothes.
Yes.
And so people are like, why are you wearing black? You're going to attract heat. I'm like, oh, you guys don't want to see how much I sweat through
You
my
will
clothes.
literally see that I'm sweating through the back of my dress. That's
You
why.
also have like 10 pounds of hair.
yes.
I mean,
You
your
have a-
hair's so long.
Oh my
She
gosh.
has a wild amount of hair.
I
And
saw.
it's so beautiful.
It's like
though.
a blanket.
yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I ever see you like from behind very
Yeah,
often.
yeah.
And so I saw you from behind up here and I'm like, your hair is long.
It's long. You just got it cut
It's
too,
very
didn't you?
yeah. It's the longest it's been in a while. But guys, when I was younger, my mom would break brushes on my hair
No.
regularly, just trying to brush it.
Oh, no.
Like it was so thick and curly, and my mom didn't know what to do with
Yeah.
it, so she would just constantly like put it in slick back,
Yeah.
like stuff like that, and like I have no sensation in my
Yep.
scalp.
Yeah.
Like you could pull hair out of my head and I wouldn't even flinch because
Or Karen.
got that different
because
scalp.
yes, because of the trauma my scalp had growing up with hairbrushes.
Your scalp was I've been around the block.
Yeah.
It's holding a cigarette. Your scalp was like
Literally.
holding a cigarette. Like, yeah, what you
Literally.
got? Yeah.
Literally, like you could
What's
pull
that brush
hair.
got on me?
You could literally pull hair out of my head, and I'd be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The bad thing is, I wouldn't say my father was that bad, but my dad did just rip through our tangles all the time.
Yes.
And so, but I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of grateful because as I had been a hairdresser for 16 years, when people had sensitive scalps and I don't,
Oh, eye roll.
I had
I
no
know.
empathy.
I had
Literally.
same.
I'm like, do you
same.
want your hair done or not?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so,
Or like
funny.
the clients that had like the bobbleheads.
I'm
It's
like,
like,
yeah, like
you, like
doing
they
this.
would just crank
Yes.
it back. I'm like, drama. You'd have to like hold their head and like,
yeah, I'm
get
like,
back.
you're fine.
Yeah.
You're fine. And so now with Pepper, as I do my
Yeah.
baby's hair,
Yeah.
I'm not being like I'm ripping her
But,
hair, but
I mean,
I'm not overly careful because I'm
Yeah.
like, one day you'll thank me.
Yes.
Yeah.
One day you'll, and
Yeah.
your
Yes.
hairdresser will
You
thank
think-
me.
yeah.
There you go.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm anxious. We did not talk about this. She's been here for, an hour and a half and we've been talking.
talking about everything else.
You literally came here before you've even been home. You've been on a trip that you planned
Yes.
for a couple days. And so as far as I knew, this, I mean, it's just you, right? Solitude, just moments with the Lord.
Literally every vacation, getaway, whatever you want to call it, it's either been with family or to see family.
Yeah.
So this is the first one I've had where it's just me, no agenda, really just with the purpose of like spending time with the Lord and just myself.
It's good.
Yeah.
I think just, I don't know, it's always been this like I have to go with someone or I have to go see someone. In my family, we didn't vacation because we were kind of, poor.
Yeah.
But so when we would take trips, it was for the same purpose, either to see family or you're with family going to like camping or Six Flags or whatever you want to call it, a cookout.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I've carried that into my adulthood. And then I'm like, I don't want to go on vacation by myself. Like that looks weird. But it was actually beautiful. I had an amazing time. If anybody watching is here in Iowa and you've never been to Bellevue, go. Bellevue.
Mm-hmm.
It's right on the Mississippi River.
Is that by like Prairie du Chien? Is that up there?
I don't know.
Right, like towards
Dubuque?
Davenport, right? Or
No,
Dubuque?
it's like
Davenport.
Maybe it's up.
it's.
I don't
I
know.
think it might be closer to Dubuque.
Okay, it's up.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
to get back here, I had to go up through Dubuque, and I didn't know that.
How far away was it?
I didn't know that Iowa was so beautiful.
Up there, it's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Oh,
I
the
had
rock.
no
Yeah.
idea.
Oh, the rock.
It was like a little less than 2 hours,
2 hours
to get here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just beautiful. I took a bunch of naps, which I never do. But I think I heard recently that like when your body is finally in a place of rest, it like catches up. And it's like, so I took a lot of naps and spent some time just with worship music on. I cooked some really good meals for myself because my brother, shout out to my brother and my sister-in-law, they gave me some ribeyes.
Ooh.
I learned how to use a camp grill with charcoal.
Girl.
Ooh,
Yeah, charcoal grill. Okay.
Yeah.
That tastes better anyways.
It
Did
does,
it turn
but
out good?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was, but charcoal grills, no, not my thing.
Oh, the timing?
Yes.
Like, it takes too much time.
Oh my gosh, it takes so
I
much
know,
time
it
to get
does.
the grill hot.
I know.
Anyways,
But it tastes better.
it does. It definitely does.
I
It definitely
know.
does. But yeah, it was just amazing. The spot I was at was beautiful. And I think everyone needs to take, even if it's just for a night, like for yourself. Don't have any agenda. And I think the most purposeful thing was like I shut off my emails. I told my family like, hey, literally, unless someone's dying or my house is on fire, like leave me alone.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
y'all, but leave me alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I turned off my work email
It's so good.
and just peace.
Yeah.
I just kind of sat my phone down and just kind of hung out.
yeah.
And I needed it. And it was just a beautiful time just with myself and with the Lord.
Amazing.
You know what I wonder is, I mean, stuff like when people tell me that, like I took a couple of days to whatever, like I'm like, that sounds beautiful. Like, man, what a dream. And then I'm like, why don't I do that? And so what you had said, you're like, I guess our vacations was always like family or it was always seeing family or with family. And I'm like, why don't I do that? And I'm like, this is the honest answer. I think sometimes I'm like, not being like, I'm not worth it. Not that, but like, I don't think I value or see the value or know the value of that is it's so valuable, right? For what it does inside of you or your relationship with God or your relationship with yourself, like anything, right?
Yeah.
And I think that there's more value in one way than the other
Yeah.
because multiple people that I know who have taken just a quick couple days, they come back different.
Yeah.
Refreshed,
Yeah.
excited about life again.
Yes.
Like,
Well, and when I hear you talk about it, for me to be honest, I think it sounds scary. Not from like a physical standpoint, not from like, oh, I'm scared someone's gonna take me. not that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I got him.
I can
Me and
teach you some self-defense.
Yeah, me and my little pocket knife. No, not that. But like from a spiritual standpoint,
Yeah.
I think we are all so distracted beyond measure that I don't even realize sometimes when I'm so distracted, right? And then to go and like have to sit in solitude,
With your thoughts.
that sounds terrifying.
It's true.
A little bit.
That's
I'd be
true.
like, what am I gonna do? Or like,
Yeah.
right, what am I gonna accomplish? What am I? Oh,
Yeah.
I'll bring my study and I'll do
Uh-huh.
this, and this. Oh, I could get this done, and then I could work on that. That'd be cool. But that's not what we're talking about. You know what I mean? And I think there is some discipline to it. The discipline to go and to be in solitude and just sit with the Lord and be like, what do you want to reveal to me? Bruh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and this idea of like what he can reveal to you when distractions are taken away. Because we talk about all the time, well, I can't hear God. I can't discern. I can't see the vision. I can't whatever. And I sat in that so many different times in my life. And I just sat in that a couple weeks ago. And it's like, well, when have you given him time to talk to you? When have you given him time to show you the vision?
Yeah.
And it's like, I think part of me is desperate for it and the other part is scared of it. Because once I know he spoke it to me, once I know what he's showing me,
Gotta do it now.
it's on you.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Like, I was just talking to my mentor the other day and she was walking me through something. I was like, man, I keep getting this image in my head of God at my back pushing me and my heels in the dirt. And I'm like skidding forward. Like he's trying to push me into something. And she goes, I don't know if that's from the Lord. And I'm like, okay, I want to hear you out. Like, what do you mean? And she goes, I don't think that's his nature, to be honest. And she goes, I think the scariest thing God gives us is free will. I think you know what you're supposed to do and walk into, and it's you're deciding not to. And that's why you're feeling the tension. It's not God. He's not going to force you to do anything. He's not going to purposely push you into a situation. We have free will. He's not a dictator. He's not going to control what you're doing. And I'm like, oh, that's good. Free will is one of the most beautiful things God gives us. And it's one of the scariest when you take it super seriously.
100%.
Yeah, because then it's like, oh, shoot, there is a part of me that has to walk. Right.
Yeah.
And anyways, and then she just made this joke afterwards after she was like pushing me. She was like, actually, it was me behind you pushing you.
Yeah.
Because your friends do that, right? Your
true.
friends come around you and they'll kind of push you into the uncomfortable. But the Lord's like, you got free will, girl.
Yeah, you're gonna
Yeah.
take the step.
Yeah.
That's so true. But yeah, it was just time with the Lord, and it wasn't like I went into it like I'm gonna have a
Revelation.
moment,
Yeah.
you know, like come back and just be like a totally different person. I went into it like, but it was really a lot more of like Jesus just whispering in my ear, like, I'm here.
Yeah.
I got you. And like yesterday I was sitting up on the beach and this amazing view of the Mississippi River in front of me, and I had some worship music on, and I was like, God, do I pray? Like, what do I but it was just like, no, just sit here. Like, just look around. Like, just look. And so I'm looking around and I'm like, any other time with any other purpose, I would have sat here and missed this beautiful tree that was like going over the water and all of the birds and all of the wildlife going on, the big barges and like the speedboats going, like, I would have missed all of that. And it was just, I highly recommend, like, was it weird? Yeah. it was weird at moments because you're just by yourself.
Right.
And like, being by yourself with your own thoughts sometimes can be a little bit scary. But I really do feel like God met me and gave me exactly what I needed,
That's good.
not what I wanted.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's the other part of it too. And like, I think just in my life in general, I heard this sermon when I was like 20, 21, from a pastora that talked about needs over wants, you know, because oftentimes we want all these beautiful things, right, that aren't inherently bad to want. But at least my experience with the Lord is that he gives me what I need, not what I want.
Yeah.
And it's hard to sit with that sometimes because we hear like, you know, we have these desires and you have these things. And okay. But when you live your life for the Lord,
Yep.
you set aside your wants and you say, God, your will be done in my life. And we don't understand the weight of that.
Yeah.
We don't sit and understand the weight of that. And what coincides or what comes alongside that always. And it's sometimes that those desires that aren't inherently bad, you have to wait, or it's not the time, or it might not ever be the time. Like that's the tension I've been sitting in recently of like, God, I have all these desires for this, this, and this. And him being like, and if I didn't give them to you, would you still love me? Would you still serve me? Would you still, help shepherd the flock? Like those things. And I'm just like, and when we were talking before this, I'm like, I want to have a confident yes.
Yeah.
I want to have a confident yes so bad.
Right.
But I've been in this tension of like, I don't know. Like if God was sitting here right in front of me and said, hey, you want that thing so bad, but if you never got it, would you still love me? Would you still serve me? Would you still search for me like you search for me? I'd probably say, if I'm honest, I don't know, but I want to have a confident yes. So I do think in having that time away, it brought this closeness that I needed. I needed and I wanted. And he met me there so gently. And another thing we were talking about before this is like a lot of the moments that I've had with the Lord, I've had some that have been really gentle and sweet and just like he's kissing me on my head and like, holding me kind of moments that are just beautiful and lovely. Yeah. But most of them are him being like, girl, what are you doing? Or like, I told you not to do that. Look what happened. And it's so, I cherish the moments where he's tender with me because, he knows that that's what I needed.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
I love the tension you're talking about of, because when you were saying it, I'm thinking like, okay, when I'm in those, what tension am I sitting with? And how you're like, when you're talking to the Lord and he's talking to you and he's like, if I didn't give you this, this, and this, like, would you still love me? Like that tension of that. When you were talking, I thought of when I'm thinking of it, God saying, if I didn't give you this, this, and this, do you still believe I love you? Is what I was thinking when you were talking. Because I think, yes, we love the Lord. We talk about it all the time. We talk about how much we love the Lord. How often do we reflect and look at the root of something as, do we know he loves us? Even despite some of these things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's what I was kind of thinking of. Because I that's where I get. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. I think you put words to what I was trying to say, honestly. Which you've been doing that a lot lately. And also to people listening and watching, I just have to say really quick, like Leah and Josie, they are friends of mine. I love them so much. I've been blessed and honored really just to see what God has been doing in and through them these last couple of years. And, I do think that God sent them to be a part of my life for such a time as this. And I love just seeing how God uses both of you guys. It's beautiful.
The feeling is so mutual. Yeah. I've needed you too. Yeah.
I love you guys. We're not going to start crying again.
I know. I was
We're going to start crying again.
Can you save that till the end, Emmy?
Sorry. I just didn't want to forget. I didn't want to forget. But I think that's definitely what it is will I believe that he still loves me? If these desires, if these things that I've wanted so badly for so long don't come to pass, right? Or it's not the plan that he has for me. And it's a really hard spot to be in. It takes me back to being a little girl with two parents that struggled as parents a lot. That struggled with, we have a fly friend that's in
fly
here.
is not good. I wish we had a fly swatter.
It's okay.
I'll try to.
So if
I'll
you guys
try to
see
get
us,
them.
yeah.
I should I use the? Dear God, can you hear me? Both?
No.
No,
That's
well, it's
decoration.
that or the Bible. Which one? I'm just kidding. I'll use this notepad if I can try to get it. I'm teasing.
That's funny. But it takes me back to being this little girl, and there it is. I was the middle child in a Hispanic family with a bunch of brothers. Okay. With a bunch of brothers.
She said. She was confident.
I
too.
really thought I had it. It
I thought you
disappeared.
did
It
too for a second,
disappeared.
honestly.
Okay, you're a little girl.
Anyways, where's it at? Oh, there's no way I'm getting it on that.
It's a good thing I'm really good at editing.
I know. I'm like, we're gonna have to edit this out. But okay, it takes me back. I am the middle girl child around a bunch of boys in a Hispanic family, and I say that because in Hispanic families, just culturally, the boys are valued a little bit more than the girls. I don't know, or not more valued. I think valued in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
The boys are oftentimes given. Do you get it?
I think there's two of them. Okay, keep going.
Welcome to Dear God
Dude.
Ministries.
Keep going. Freaking teach us. Let's go.
And I think the real difference in Hispanic families is just that boys are very oftentimes just acknowledged more than girls. Girls are given womanly responsibilities, but very oftentimes under tougher scrutiny, have to be more responsible. And then my parents for periods of times in my life were also drug addicts, alcohol, or drinking a lot of alcohol, which both my parents, thank God, are in much better places, and are clean, and God is doing something in both of them. But back in the day, or as a result of that, in general, me and my siblings were just kind of forgotten, honestly, between my parents working and just dealing with their broken relationship and their habits. We were forgotten a lot. So I do find myself in really tough seasons of life, reverting back to that little girl that's like, has to prove that I'm worthy of love.
Yep.
Because my parents, back in those times, would only give us attention if we were in trouble or if we did something for them. So I revert back to that child a lot, even in my relationship with God sometimes, where I'm like, do you love me? Because, I'm getting all this fire, I'm going through all these things. And it's hard for me to believe right now that you love me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And checking myself for like, whoa, like, where's this coming from?
Yeah.
And it's a tough spot to be in sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking about how many times we equate, and I think it's, I don't think it's on purpose. Like getting what we want equates to someone hearing us, seeing us, loving us, noticing us.
That's good.
And so, because I'm trying to think of that tension too, of being like waiting for something that I know that God wants to give me the desires of my heart, and like, all the scripture, what to say.
I was just gonna say that. I'm like, you get every response.
You
get every response,
and you know it.
Yeah, yeah.
But you're like, but then you're still sitting there, and you're like, but if you actually saw me, if you actually saw how desperately I want this, you know what I mean? Like, but if you just do this one thing, everything around me is gonna change. Because that's how I think of that stuff, is like when I'm waiting, right, for a desire that I really want, is more of, I think that this blessing, gift, something given to me is going to change every circumstance around me, or within me. Yeah, to be honest, is, I could say, like, around me, as in like pretend it's going to make my life more simple. Like whenever I'm a single mom raising two boys, God, bring me a husband, because it's going to make my life easier. I can't be a single mom. This sucks. Like, this is really hard. I can't teach them how to be a father. I can't teach them how to love a wife. Like, I knew what was missing, right? And then God's not bringing somebody. And so I think for me, I thought that if I got that, then it would change everything. In the waiting, what did he do? I went back to church. I put my boys in church. I surrendered my heart to the Lord. I said, Lord, send me. Like he put me in the spot of, I was so desperate. I had nowhere else to go. Like, it wasn't just praying for a husband anymore. It was being like hitting this rock bottom that it drove me back to a church, back to Jesus's heart, and back to walking in a calling that I knew was already on my life. But I had walked away from it for a long time. So I'm trying to look back and be like, God, why is that tension? What is it? For me, I think it was, I didn't think he could actually see, or I knew more than him almost. You know what I mean? Like, well, you don't see that without you giving it to me. It's not it's not helping. If you would give me the desire, it would help a lot of stuff out.
Right.
And he's like, there's actually something inside of you that I'm trying to heal, fix, grow, encourage, strengthen that you need, right? Not that you want.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And none of this to say that having desires or wanting things are inherently bad.
No.
It's not bad to want things.
Yeah.
But I do believe, right, when you're someone like myself that is called to ministry, right, there's a point where your feet have to hit the pavement and you really have to you're either all in this and you're going to pick up your mat and walk,
Right.
or you're just going to sit there on your mat,
right,
and watch other people walk by.
Right.
And I think for a really long time, I sat on my mat.
Yeah.
I sat on my mat and I was like, but my life is just a mess. And I wasn't given the tools to be able to really do anything well. And no one has ever believed in me, and all these things that we tell ourselves, right? And it was to kind of fast forward. So when I graduated high school, I went to high school here in Iowa, moved back to Chicago immediately. I was still 17, graduated within the next week. I was gone because I was like, Iowa sucks. I don't want to be here.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye. And I went to Chicago and I did a year of college out there. And in that year, so much stuff happened. And I got connected with a really awesome church out there that had a master's commission. And for those of you that aren't in their 30s like me, you maybe heard of master's commission. Master's commission was a big thing in the early 2000s, early 2010s. And it was basically a discipleship program that was broken up into 3 years. And the church I was attending, it was attached to that church. So you're getting ministry experience. The church I was attending also had a dream center. So we're getting that outreach experience too. And in doing master's commission, that was when I was first exposed to outreach. I had no idea what outreach ministry was. I've always had a desire to want to help people. And I think that also goes back to being the only girl in the middle of a bunch of boys and just being kind of a motherly figure to my siblings. I knew I loved helping people. I loved serving. I loved doing all of those things. But all within my family or within church. And this was my first time being exposed to ministering to homeless, ministering to prostitutes on the streets, going out to Lower Wacker Drive, which anyone who's ever been in downtown Chicago and has gone to Lower Wacker Drive, it's a whole other world down there. It's a little scary. Most people end up there by accident and they're like, how do we get out of here? It was my first time being exposed to those kinds of things. And part of the program as being a girl first year is we actually had to spend the night. They had a shelter for single moms with children who are homeless. And most of them coming out of domestic violence situations. And we had to do the night shift there. Night shift. And it was a very, very,
Sorry, just
No, it's okay.
ignore me trying to
you're fine.
get rid of this problem for us. Here. It's flawed.
It was a very eye-opening experience, because I'm seeing these women in the lowest state of their lives. They've lost everything.
Yeah.
They have
Yeah.
kids. The system in Chicago for homeless people is just terrible. They've been brought through the ringer. And it really like opened my eyes to this idea of like this. I don't know if this is the only way I could think of, but of phrasing it is like, it could be worse. You know, it could always be worse.
Yeah.
And that I was 19, so very young. I remember my first night shift. I was terrified. Because you're there and they send people to you in the middle of the night. Some of them fresh off the streets. Some have gone from shelter to shelter or have just been through the system. And it was a very humbling experience. I ended up doing my first year master's commission, and then they offered me a job to work at the Dream Center. And I did. And in that also just had these outreach experiences where there's a ministry that goes out to the homeless and brings them a hot meal. And in Chicago, under bridges, there's just like these tent encampments all over the place. So we're going there. You know, most of these people have had a really rough life or are struggling with addiction. So you're literally seeing people in their worst spots of their life, but you're carrying the hope of Jesus to them along with a meal, along with but what I think was the most impactful, or one of the most impactful parts of it, was the women's program. The women's program rescued women from human trafficking or addiction and helped them basically, our fly friends, helped them to kick their habit, get, rehabilitated spiritually and physically, and then help them to transition back to the real world. So I saw all kinds of crazy stuff through that. Women that have gone through human trafficking and have horrific story, like things you see in movies that you can't even imagine are real. Like hearing their stories, girls being trafficked at the age of 10, 11, used and abused over and over again. But seeing God transform. There was a lady I even had the pleasure of working with at the Dream Center who had gone through the program and then was doing the accounting for the Dream Center now. So like got to see these full circle stories of people who went through horrendous things, but by the faith of people who weren't afraid to go out. God was just able to come in and do beautiful things in their lives. And the other really impactful ministry is called Rose of Sharon, where they go out Friday, Saturday nights with roses that have like contact information for the women's program on them. You're going out on a Friday, Saturday night in Chicago in some of the most underserved, rough areas of the city in a van with a bunch of women and like two guys, because it's, and that's outreach in general. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of men that want to get involved in outreach. If you're one of the men, God bless you. Men, we need you in outreach ministry.
Yeah.
But this van full of women who are like powerhouses in the spirit. I'm in there like, I'm not scared for myself. I'm scared for the people outside of the van. I'm like, oh God, like they're about to go out
You
there.
don't even know.
You don't even know how they're praying down these powers and principalities as we're driving through these. Like, I'm scared for them. We're going to open these doors and everyone's just going to fall on their faces. Like it was...
I love it.
It was literally like, but they had to, because it's like
walking in authority.
Yeah.
we're literally in the van and I'm looking out the window. I'm seeing drug deals happen all around us, men on the corners, on the streets, and these women that are walking, half naked on the street.
Right.
And we're jumping out of this van and we're walking and saying, hey, can I pray with you? Hey, can you talk to us? Meanwhile, their pimp is like on the corner. Sometimes they would intercept them. Sometimes they would. Usually,
you're also a threat,
right?
Yeah.
Usually, and at least for me in the situations I was in, there was never anything crazy that happened.
Good.
And I think that's Jesus, 100%.
Sure.
But there are some like where they would intercept. They usually would let us pray with the women at least, and give them the rose. But you're literally in a den of wolves.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
seeing these women who are being exploited, most of them who are under heavy, heavy, heavy drug usage, even be open
Mm-hmm.
for a hug, be
Mm-hmm.
open for
Yeah.
a smiling face.
Mm-hmm.
Is life changing for me. And that's why like
Mm-hmm.
fast forwarding to now, I help co-lead women's ministry. I never thought that I would be in this place of co-leading women's ministry, but now that I am, I see how God prepared me for it and allowed me to see women in all different spaces and
Yeah.
areas. And how it's benefited me, you know, in the ministry that I do now. And I'm circling. I promise I'm getting somewhere with this.
No, you're great.
I want to share this story, and this is maybe like the third time I've shared it the last couple of weeks, and it's a story that marked me. It'll mark me forever, and always knew that God was going to put me in a position or in a season where I'd get to share it.
Yeah.
But we back in the day when I worked at the Dream Center. Chicago winters are brutal, so they decided to open our church up as a warming center for homeless, for people right off the street, so that they're not freezing to death in the streets of Chicago. And the first time we did it, they still do it now to this day, praise the Lord. But the first time we did it, it was a learning curve. I showed up that morning, and the chief of staff literally like she beelined it to me, and she's like, "Hey, there's this woman. I want your job today is to get her into detox." And I was like, anyone, I don't know how it is in Iowa, but in Chicago, to get someone to detox is not easy. It is not easy.
Right.
As much, even more difficult when it's someone off the streets who's homeless or doesn't have an ID, doesn't have an address, like none of that. So I'm terrified because this woman who was a prostitute, I see her and I'm immediately scared because I also see her pimp in the corner staring me down. And I'm like, what do I do? I'm like 19, 20 years old at this time. I'm like, what do I do? So I decide to just sit and talk with her first. So I sit and talk with her. We went and we had someone made a hot meal for everyone. So we went and we sat and we're eating. And I was like, well, what's your story? Like, how did you end up in this, you know, what's going on? And again, I see her pimp is like
Right
laser,
there.
like he's not right there, but I see him staring daggers at us.
Yeah.
And from what I remember of her story, she was in her early 40s, looked like she was in her 60s. Honestly, she looked like she could be my grandma. She had 10 kids from the ages of 22 to 2.
Wow.
And none of them did she ever have full custody. Like her mom raised most of her children. And I think the 2-year-old, she hadn't seen them after the day that they were born. So she barely saw them. And she just tells me her story about how really rough times, how she kept getting with men who used and abused her, how she was raised in the kind of way that she didn't understand the value that she held. And I remember just listening to her, and she's crying, and I didn't have the words of hope to give to her in that moment, if I'm completely honest. But I do remember closing the conversation saying, "Thank you for sharing your story with me. And I want you to know that I love you and I care for you and that Jesus loves you and Jesus cares for you." And I was able to pray for her. And then that whole day, I was literally there from like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. I'm making phone call after phone call after phone call, trying to get her into detox. Detox is like, no, she doesn't have an ID. I'm like, she's homeless. We really need to get her in. Okay, then she needs to get a state medical card. So I'm calling DHS and like just phone call after phone call. By the grace of God, I was able to find a detox that would pick her up.
No way.
Pick her up. And was able to contact DHS to send to our office her medical card because she didn't have an ID. And they're like, if she has her medical card with her legal name on it, we'll take it and we'll take her to detox. Truly a miracle to do both of those steps. And then I tell her and she's excited. And again, I keep seeing her pimp. He pulled her aside a couple of times throughout the whole day, but she's excited. And I'm getting ready to leave and catch my bus and go home. And I get on the bus and I'm like, God, she's not going to go. She's not going to come to my office. It was like a Friday. I was like, she's not going to come to the office Monday and get her medical card. She's not going to go. Like, because she had told me herself that she had tried to go to detox many, many, many times and it never worked or
and then
never
to
happened.
have like this span in between
Yes.
this conversation.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, she's not going to go. She's not going to show up. I just did all of this for nothing. And I'll never forget this story in this moment because it was on that bus on my way home where I felt like the Lord was like, she is no different from you. You run from me. You lie. You try and make up these fairy tales in your head that you live by, but aren't my will for your life. And I'm just sitting there on the bus like, literally just having this very humbling moment with the Lord. And then he was also like, I felt this flood of love come over me too. For sure. And it's like, you're still worthy just as she is. Yeah. And I'll tell you, she didn't go. She didn't go. Yeah. I had her piece of mail with her medical card in it with a thumbtack on my cubicle at work for over a year. Just praying like, Lord, help her to remember, and it never happened. Yeah. And it was a very humbling moment between me and the Lord where it was like, there is no hierarchy. There is no you're better than this person or you're right. Like you are no different outside of like we carry the light inside of us, right? That can shine onto someone, something. Jesus. But I still pray for her. I remember her name to this day. And when I remember, I pray like, Lord, if she's still around, if she's still alive, whatever she's doing, I pray God that she be reminded how loved she is of you. That's right. And it's something I won't forget ever because, and I told you guys this before we were recording too. I have had tender moments with the Lord that I love and I cherish. Like I just had some really tender moments with God. But a lot of the moments I've had is of him being like, girl, I need you to understand you are this big in everything that I'm trying to do.
Absolutely.
And what I'm asking you to do is a small puzzle piece to something huge.
Yeah.
And trying to live by that of like, okay, Lord. And that's why like I try to have this posture of like, God, all of this sin, like I just want it wringed out of me. Like if it is a stumbling block, if it's something that's stopping me, if it's something that's stopping me from seeing you, like wring it out of me. You know, like, and that's like the crushing, you know, the crushing is so hard sometimes. But it's this like, where else can I go? You know, what else can I do? This is the necessary work that the Lord has for me and in my life, right? And who am I? Who am I? You know, like the same way it's like, you know, the verse, I think is a psalm, maybe not. You know, who am I that you're mindful, right? Mindful of me. I'm paraphrasing the heck out of that. But in my personality, I need to be humbled like that because if I'm not, I will plateau or I will manipulate the heck out of people and out of things around me so that it's in my favor. And I'm like, I have to tell myself all the time, it can't be about you. It can't, it's not about you. It's not about so you. And it's hard. It's hard to live like that.
I love what you said about the, when you were talking about, how'd you phrase it? I can't remember. When you're like, God, I just want it wringed out of me. When you're talking about that desire, and then you go from that into talking about the crushing, and that's where the oil is produced. And I love that that's what you talked about first before you're like, that was the crushing and the oil came out of that. Because I think a lot of times we think the crushing in the oil comes out of what happened to us. Right? So like the hard situation that happened to us. Oh, they put me through this. Oh, this on me. Oh, it wasn't. It's really what he's pulling out of you through what happens to you. That is the crushing. It is crushing to have things happen to you. And I don't
Yeah.
want to like discredit any sort of like anyone who's been a victim to anything. That is not at all what I mean.
Yeah.
I just think a lot of times we equate the crushing, at least I have before, to that.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, well, that happened to me, instead of like the real crushing that I was feeling was actually what God was pulling out of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree 100%. I do
Yeah.
think in working in outreach ministry for as long as I did, the big thing that God did was I have such an empathy for the hurt, for people who, people will look at prostitutes or people in human trafficking or homeless people with disgust, or like with I need to avoid them, I need to walk around them, I need to go across the street.
The classic, they did it to themselves mentality.
Right. Whereas I've had enough conversations with people that are in these sensitive groups to hear like the majority of the time it's not because they did anything wrong.
Yeah.
The majority of or a lot of times it is because of drug addiction, which drug addiction, and again,
Sorry, I'm so
No,
sorry.
it's
These
okay.
are so bad.
It's okay.
They're awful over here. They're like attacking us.
It's fine. Because I had that experience, I just look at them as like, they're people, they're God's children, no different than me.
Yeah.
That have lost their way, and like they are still worthy of dignity, of respect. They are still people at the end of the day. And it's so funny because like when God called me back here to Iowa, I immediately was like, no. like what do you mean? And I had these job offers in New Jersey and in Texas, and God was like, no, I need you to go back there. And I'm like, okay, and then God puts me in this beautiful church with amazing people, but I'm put in this place now where like I am the minority, right? Like I'm coming fresh off of this, just like working really deep in outreach ministry, working really deeply with very vulnerable populations. And there's this stigma to the average churchgoer of like, those people are separate and like dirty and like not all, but there definitely is.
There's an unconscious separation. I think that happens too.
100%.
Yeah.
I will say a lot of it is not consciously.
Some of it is.
But
there's a lot of unconscious.
Yeah,
too,
I'd say unconsciously.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there was a lot of tough conversations that I had to have with God, where I was like, God, I don't want to be insensitive, right? Because I've seen these crazy situations with people. I don't want to be insensitive to anyone who's never been exposed to that.
Yeah.
And that was an interesting season with me and the Lord of like, I felt like in a way I was kind of desensitized to certain people's struggles, because I'm like,
yeah, I've dealt with that.
I like,
yeah.
It's like there's this, I don't even watch the Kardashians, but this always replays in my head when I try to explain
I feel
this.
like I know exactly what you're gonna do.
Where Kim like loses her earring in the ocean, and Courtney's like, people are dying, Kim.
Yeah,
like it's like the dumbest comparison or like thing, but that's always what I think of when I explain this to people. Is like, it's not that people's stories don't matter. Like your story matters. But because I got a little jaded working in outreach ministry for so long, where I was like, I was so used to seeing just these stories. And God, even in that, took me through a season of like, well, their story matters too. Like,
that's good.
There's just like, there's no hierarchy, like where like everyone's story matters, and putting me in this place of like, pause, listen, put yourself in their situation, and like, how would that make you feel? Don't think that just because you experience a different kind of adversity that it's any different. So it's very interesting.
That's so good.
Interesting thing to have gone through so young, being exposed to that kind of stuff. But I do think the thing about outreach ministry, and I tell this to everyone, it does something to your heart that makes you look at God differently. It marks you in the kind of way where you see almost like God's love posture towards us in a different way, and how like there are truly no bounds. There are no limits. There are no shortcuts. There's no, long way around taking the scenic routes for how much he loves us. And not just me, you and you.
Yeah.
It's, Bob on the corner who's been homeless for the last 10 years, who's a homeless veteran. It's Baco, who's a drummer for, a worship team, and he's been on it for 20 years, like loves him too.
Yeah.
It's the pastors that are serving faithfully in those unreached places. Like there is no difference in lengths that God would go through. Like he just loves you.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think it's so easy, especially like in America, in rural America, like we get so comfortable with our our picket fence lives, our Instagram lives where it looks so cool and perfect. And like God is doing really cool things in my life. Right. But I'm like, why don't we talk about the struggle as much too? Why don't we talk about, the fact that like there are real systematic things that are oppressing people, and the church is called to break down those systems, right? Or to enforce them in the kind of way where we're coming alongside to create better opportunities to take care of and love people better. Why is it like it's cool to say pick up your mat and walk, but when you actually have to walk and it's hard, right? And it's crushing, like we don't talk about that, and most of us don't do that. So I think the biggest blessing of being exposed to outreach ministry at a really young age is that I have seen big and small God do incredible things without me doing anything, with me just being a witness, with me just not doing anything, with me just praying, with me just being in a space with someone. Because let me tell you, going into Lower Wacker Drive when there's people in tents that you don't know what they got in that tent, you don't know how
Who's
desperate they are, you don't know spiritually, what you're walking into, but simply remembering I have the power, God lives inside of me. I'm walking in authority, how it shifts an atmosphere.
Yeah.
Like that's so foreign I've come to realize that's a foreign concept to a lot of people, because we have this box that we put Jesus in, or we only hang out with our church friends and like,
I think the problem is we've taken Jesus out of it. That's the problem is the way that we talk and look at the world, right, is from an early age. It's from parents being like, don't walk over there. Don't da-da-da-da. We stay away from that area. We don't go to Six Corners. You know what I mean? Like it's the way you're brought up. And so you start looking at people and Jesus is out of it. Where's Jesus' heart in that? Right? So then we're trying to bring Jesus to them and we don't know how. Where, like you said, and I think we've forgotten in so many different circumstances, whose name do we carry? Right? We talk about that often. What authority are we carrying? It's not the authority of Leah Molnix. That means nothing, right? It's the authority of Jesus Christ. It's the same one, like we say, raised Jesus from the dead, but it's also the same one that he borrowed out, lent, right? Gave to his disciples and all those people to go heal the sick, drive out demons. It's the same thing. And so I'm like, so we walk and stuff and we're like, oh yeah, like I'm a believer in his light, but I don't think people realize how powerful that is and that there is nothing to fear. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, I think whenever you're talking, I'm like, why do we do that? Well, I think we've left Jesus out of it. I think we've fallen into like fear, self-protection. Well, I'm protecting my kids, and there's ways to justify.
For sure.
I also think of, again, just Iowa. I had a moment a couple weeks ago talking with somebody about something that God has put on my heart and Jesus' heart. Or Jesus, Josie's, same thing. Just joking. Jesus. Hopefully it's on Jesus' heart too. That'd be great.
Let us know if it's not.
Go ahead and correct us in that. But we're talking, me and Josie's heart, about just things, right? And I'm describing it. I'm like, but you don't see that here, but you don't see that here. That doesn't exist here. So it must be wrong. And I believe that. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's coming out because that's what I'm believing, the story in my head.
Yeah.
And this person's like, I've been to a church on a sandy beach with a little awning and people are just sitting there talking about Jesus. Do you know what I mean? Like correcting my Midwestern Iowa mind.
Yeah.
And so I literally looked at this person. I was like, why am I so Iowa minded?
Yeah.
I said that to him because I'm
Same.
like, am I that close minded?
Yeah, same.
And
I
I
get
think-
confronted with that all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I think, like you said, it's so funny because you're like, God, why would I come here? To this beautiful church, to Iowa. Yeah,
Yeah.
you came for us. That's what Josie's raising her hand over here.
Because you've taught me so
Yes.
much by just being my friend.
Just being you.
yeah, by just talking. Yeah.
But I'm like,
yeah.
I think it's just you start seeing how inwardly focused
Oh my God.
we become when you are not outwardly focused.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like
Yes.
even during
Yeah.
the last a couple years of my life, I was so inwardly
Me too.
focused.
Me too.
I was like, I'm so
Yeah.
awful. I
Yeah.
need help. I
Yeah.
need loved. I need like all these things I needed.
Yeah.
And my eyes were 100% off
Me
of
too.
anybody else.
Mm.
And as soon as I'm like, "Ugh," and my eyes are opened, that I'm like, this was never about me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was such an awakening.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, I don't want to be like, it was wrong. Like, I don't want to
Yeah.
say that, but like, I'm trying to remember the moment that happened. And I'm like, how did I slip into that so easily?
Yeah.
How did
Yeah.
I stopped serving truly because
That's good.
I told myself, this is my time to heal.
Mm.
I need to heal. I need the boundaries. I've served the last 10 years in ministry. This is my time to soak. And so I'm like,
Ooh.
when did that happen?
That's good.
Yeah.
And then one day, because I have a friend
Yeah.
and they needed help at a coffee shop, I'm like, sure, I'll help, whatever, coffee shop. And then your eyes just start opening again. And I'm like, so when did it come inward focus? When I stopped serving other people.
Yeah.
That's when.
Yeah.
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 No, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
100%. And it's like, it's so interesting to me how people don't correlate the two together. And I think it's a very Western Christian thing.
Yeah.
And our culture in general is so focused on self, my opportunities, my integrity, my legacy, my this, and this.
Well, we can make our spiritual walks about it too.
Yeah.
That's what's so scary.
Yes.
My mental health.
Yes.
And then you can start saying my spiritual walk.
Yes.
I need this for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jesus is like, wait a second. I came back for a church,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
a bride. That means I want you in it.
Yes.
That means I want you a part of it. Why do I want you a part of it? Oh, because you guys are going to encourage, equip, and challenge each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not about like, well, I like to worship in private at my home. I like to just watch online and not be a part of. People are messy. People hurt me. People, and I'm like, that's not
are.
what Jesus came here for.
Yeah.
That's not what he said he's coming back for either.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
coming back for a bride.
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
like, and he's asked us to be a part of a community. And so I'm like, that's part of obedience, is part of putting him back on the throne. It's part of saying, you are Lord of my life.
Yeah.
Is, okay, I guess I'll get messy
Yeah.
Yeah.
because this sucks.
Yeah.
Like, they're messy. People are messy.
Yeah.
100%.
I love, she was talking about struggling the last couple of years of being so inward focused. And that I so relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
Even in this, and I don't want to say, like she was saying, I don't want to be like, it's wrong. I don't necessarily think it's right, but I don't necessarily think that season that I was in was wasted. Right. I think God showed me a lot, pulled out a lot of me. Every time I was reading the Bible, I was looking for myself. Every time I was reading the Bible, I was looking to what can I connect with. Every time I was reading it, which isn't bad. We need to still do that. But when that's all you do and the only way you see Jesus, that's a problem. And so even when we were praying before this, you prayed, I think, your kingdom come, your will be done, and your kingdom come just stuck. Like I just felt that like stick to me, because I feel like I would say even in the last like 4 to 6 months, I have completely been confronted again and again with what kingdom Jesus actually brought.
I
Like,
wrote that down because in your
yeah.
prayer you wrote
Yeah.
the kingdom that you want to bring.
Not what I see, not what I interpret, not what Josie's going through, not not that, but like I've had my mind boggled by what actually that means. Your kingdom come.
I know.
What that means and what in scripture we see what kingdom Jesus brought. And it's confronting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not and I don't love, I don't want to talk about God like this, like all the time. You know what I mean? Because like, yes, that's his nature. And like, I love how you said, like, sometimes I have these really gentle moments with the Lord and sometimes I have these really confronting moments with the Lord. And I think too, we think God's not being gentle or of a certain nature when he's confronting. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We perceive that.
Oh, like
Yeah.
as
Does that make I don't know if that
as
makes
something
sense.
bad.
As something bad
Yeah.
Right.
or like and I'm not saying like as in we. Sometimes I do.
yeah.
But like I think in the church too.
Yeah.
They can see that as
As
like
believers,
just believers in general, because I used to do that where it felt like an attack.
Yes.
Or like God wasn't being the God, like kind and gentle, right? And it's because of that inward focused spirit of like, oh, he's confronting that because of me,
Yeah.
right? What if he's confronting that because he wants you to go serve them? He's confronting that because he wants you to see whatever he's confronting you about in a different light, the one that I just went off for 10 minutes before this podcast and I'm like, oh, and then it's like God being like, yeah, I'm showing you that. So go do it. So go do something. You're all mad. You're sitting here all peacocked thinking you like, oh, you've learned a few things in the last 4 weeks. And so now you're going to get all passionate about it. What are you going to do about it? You know what I mean? And again, I don't mean to make God sound like gangster, right? I don't mean to make him sound like, get up. But like, kind of, you know?
But
Yeah.
I think when I was introduced to Christianity, right, when I gave my life to Jesus, it was all this sunshine and rainbows, right? The prosperity, message of, God's a genie in the bottle and he'll fix everything.
Yeah.
And I wish a saint would have came up to me and said, that and the crushing's coming.
Yeah.
The crushing will come
Right.
over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And you'll think you're past it and then another crushing comes, right? And then you think you're past it and like you'll have a mountaintop season and then God will be like, boom.
Yeah.
Right back where I need you on your face.
Humbled.
And, I look at the life of Jesus, right? You look at the life of the disciples, really any character in the Bible, most of them, right, were not exempt from some kind of crushing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys watch the show The Chosen, but I love, and I get The Chosen's kind of controversial or whatever, because it's a show. It's a show, people. Read your Bibles.
It's just, no one's telling you to watch The Chosen over reading your Bible.
No.
It's just, it's entertaining.
No,
right?
substitute.
Yeah.
But I love how they depict the disciples and like they argued about some of the stuff Jesus said and did. I love that because to me, I'm like, when I think about Jesus, when I think about the times he was living in and the things that he was facing, you cannot tell me that them disciples was not fighting, like arguing with each other, or questioning, or, having even righteous, lots of moments of even righteous anger of like, you're wrong, like I just got done watching the episode where they literally had to like have a come to Jesus moment with Thomas. Because Thomas is going off the rails. And I love how they depict, because to me, that's kingdom. Yeah. It's not
I know.
kumbaya, we love Jesus. Like, that's a beautiful part of the kingdom.
Like, that's not what where are we read? Like,
but
where's that at?
you look at the book of Acts, like you look, exactly. And we're not there yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Newsflash. We're not in the New Jerusalem. Like, we're not there yet. So things are not going to be perfect in sunshine and rainbows and, clouds and streets of gold. Like, we're not there yet.
Right.
We will be.
We will be one day. But I think it's a beautiful question and a beautiful posture to be in, where it's like, your kingdom come, your will be done. God, what does your kingdom look like here on earth?
Yeah.
What does that look like? It's not a perfect church, but it's a church that is able to both delight in the beautiful things of the Lord, and also have tough conversations
Yeah.
with each other and come out of the other end of it refined, right? And in unity. And I love, like, the Lord has had me in Habakkuk, however you say it, for a few weeks now. And I think because I've just been in this space of like, God, I have all these questions, tough questions. I have all these prayers that I prayed for decades that have gone unanswered, unfulfilled. And the funny thing about Habakkuk is asking all these tough questions to the Lord because there's like all these things going on. And I think it's maybe a little sadistic of me to think it's funny, but God's responses are not comforting at all.
Right.
Like, if anything, God is like, it's actually going to, there's things, he's basically saying like, I'm doing things that you don't understand, but things are going to get a little worse. Or you're going to continue to see these things. And in the second chapter, Habakkuk opens it up with saying how he was going to go up to the watchtower. And in my commentary in my Bible, it talks about how the prophets oftentimes use watchtowers to signify like expectancy. And that part, like, I've read through lots of times the 3 chapters over the last few weeks, but it was just yesterday when I was at the lake or at the river, where that part of it stopped me. And I was like, he's still expectant on a move of God, even though God's responses have not been comforting at all. And I'm like, Lord, I want to have that, where even though there's chaos around or like things are, that I'm still expectant that you are doing something in it.
Yeah.
And that it's far beyond my very small part in it.
Yes.
And then I love how Habakkuk also ends the 3 chapters with hope. He says all these things like, even though, the figs on the trees aren't, I'm paraphrasing the heck out of it again. But even though all of these things you would expect to happen are not happening and it's leaving things in ruin, I will remain steady and steadfast and hopeful. And that marked me because I'm like, I want that posture.
Yeah.
I want that kind of confidence in the Lord where it's even if you don't bless me another day again in my life or another thing in my life, I am still hopeful and still expectant that you're doing something far beyond me or through it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, we can't miss that.
Yeah.
We cannot afford to miss that in these times where there's chaos going on all around us. Are we in our watchtower expecting that God is going to move through it or through us? And are we still going to rejoice in the midst of chaos?
That's
like,
good.
these are the tough things where I'm like, man, God, like it's so easy to say, it's so easy to talk about, but the actual doing of it.
You know what I love was back whenever you were, I think you were talking about Chicago, but you talked about, you're like, I think you said that God kind of was like, you're just a puzzle piece to the big picture. Then I'm like, how many times, like, our little tiny puzzle piece seems like such a big deal, right?
Yes.
Yes. Where I'm like, oh man, there's like 20,000 million of these happening at the same time to accomplish God's purpose, right?
Yes.
Which is why you were like, I felt a little corrected, right? Like, oh girl, come on, but thinking, and then you just said, you're like, oh, like, I'm looking around at everything's in ruins. And we had talked about this before we jumped on, was she's in Habakkuk and I'm in Nehemiah, which are prophet books, books of the prophets. And Nehemiah, he gets word that Jerusalem's entire city is, their walls are still in ruins, and he's serving in a palace in Persia. He's fine, but his people are in danger. And so he takes on this like burden, and he's like, oh my goodness, my people, like, they're so unprotected. No one's there to safeguard them. They have a temple, but they can be attacked at any time. And, people are probably like, feel like they have control over God's people where they have no power or control over. Right. Yeah. And so I've kind of been sitting in this, and he prays, he fasts, he gets vision, for 4 months. And he goes there and he sees the walls in ruins. And so what I had read was these walls of Jerusalem had sat in ruins for 150 years.
Wow.
That means that Israelite after Israelite, leader after leader have watched these walls sit in ruins and it looked impossible.
Wow.
And so I'm like, but then I'm thinking about this watchtower and being like, even if you didn't see the things accomplished in your lifetime, right? It's still part of God's plan. Just because, do you know what I mean? Like we are just the puzzle piece. That's what I was kind of thinking of, is sometimes of being like, but I want to accomplish it. I want to see it done. I want to be a part of
See the
it.
completion.
Yes.
Yeah.
But maybe that was never our puzzle piece.
Yeah.
It's someone else's to finish, right?
Yeah.
But we are supposed to stay on guard, be hopeful, be expectant, because we also don't want to get comfortable for 150 years
Yeah.
and just sit there and be like, whatever,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
Because as I sit here and read that story of like Nehemiah and being like, okay, well, they have their temple. Their temple's built back. They can worship. But really what an unprotected city means during that time is that other people really have control and power over you. And so that means the world now has control and power over God's people. And so sure, you can worship a little bit, but you can't do this.
Yeah.
You can't do that. And so I sit there like that. I'm like, how many times this is where I'm at in the prophets right now, is like, how many things in our life are we leaving unprotected and being like, well, at least I get to do this. At least they get to do that. At least this is okay. Like it's almost harder to try to rebuild those walls. So I'm just going to sit with it's good enough.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ugh. Anyways, that's where I've been with the prophets. So
Yeah.
like,
No, that's good.
thinking about that watchtower and staying hopeful. And sometimes
Yeah.
you won't see it, just like the promised land. Moses doesn't get to go into it.
Yeah.
But that didn't mean that he didn't obey.
Yeah.
It didn't mean that he didn't rejoice in the Lord and delight in him and trust him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that you brought that up about not seeing it, because I think that's a huge pillar in outreach ministry, is like, because outreach is evangelism, right? And sometimes it's very straightforward. Like you're going and you're praying for people. You're talking to them about Jesus. But sometimes it's just giving someone a hot meal. It's providing a space for someone to sleep, to get out of the cold. And I've just experienced this in such a real way where like, do not minimize the power of just providing a space to people and just being being someone that carries the light in that space. Being a smile, being a hug, being someone who will sit and say, what's your story? Because I've seen simple interactions like that where it's not you're praying, fire down with someone, but you're just there carrying that light inside of you. I'll never forget, there were these two homeless guys. One of them, I forget one of them name, but one of them, his name was Smitty. And this guy, bless his heart, he had a sweet spot for me that every time he seen me, he had to hug me. And I was like, Lord, this guy probably hasn't showered in like, I don't know how long. And like, but I never denied him a hug, And he would get so like the smile that I would see, to the point where like there was one situation where like I hugged him and we were on the little shuttle bus that we would take to go down to where the tents are. The way he smiled at me after, I literally felt like if God was smiling at me. And I know that sounds crazy, but that's the only way that I can explain it. And it's like, there's so many ways that we can reach people, right? We can give, we can serve, we can, all of that is important. But the least of these, right? It's not Betty and her family that are coming. Not that they're not the least of these. Let me rephrase that. The least of, it's beyond the people that are coming on a Sunday to church, right? We have to go outside of the church.
Yeah.
It's like, a lot of the stuff I see being preached at singles is like, you got to leave your house. the same.
Yeah.
It's the same.
Yeah.
Oh, to
You
meet
gotta
somebody,
leave your
you gotta
church.
tell your house.
You gotta, yeah. Which I'm like,
I was
okay.
like, valid. All right,
Valid,
whatever.
yeah. But it's the same with the church. You have to leave the
Yeah.
church at some point.
Yeah.
There are people that are lost that will never step foot in the church.
Yeah.
But they're not any less worthy.
Yeah.
God isn't any less
Yeah.
trying to work through you to reach them. We can't get so attached to the comfort of, you know, our church families and our buildings and all of that stuff that we forget that there are people out there that'll never step foot in the church
Yeah.
that still need Jesus.
Yeah.
And you know, evangelism, are there some people that are good at it or better at it? Sure. But it's all of our responsibility.
100%.
All
I
of
love
our
that you say that. I
responsibility.
think sometimes we get so caught up in putting ourselves or other people in categories. And now all of a sudden we have an excuse not to take on a part of God's heart.
Yes.
Right? I do it too.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'll
Me
be like,
too.
oh, well, I'm this, so I don't have to worry about that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Oh, just cut.
It's okay. What can we go?
All right. Well, camera just cut. One last thing I wanted to say, because on your, as you're talking about evangelism and outreach and all this stuff, this is something, a sticky note I have on my desk over there, of a question that I've been asking myself. And it's, the question is, what do you consider a non-believer? And then below it I have, and how is your answer creating any sort of disunity between you and other people? And so I'm like, I don't really have an answer. It's just one that I've been asking myself. Like, what is a non-believer? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, because we have different people who believe in the same God as we do, but believe very differently. And some people who believe in the same God we do that don't even believe that Jesus rose from the dead, right? Which I believe fully, right? But how is my answer to that question? Not as in there's not non-believers, not that. There are non-believers.
Yeah.
But how is it when I'm thinking of a non-believer and I'm answering that question, how am I posing my answer? And what am I talking about when it comes to other people when I ask that question? And what is causing me, when in my answer to that, look at them differently, treat them differently, walk by them differently, not approach them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyways, again, not that there's not non-believers.
Right.
Obviously there is. But I've just been sitting on that question a little bit of like, how do I answer that question? And how does my answer affect the way that I treat other people, I guess? Yeah. Anyways.
That's a good
Well,
question.
Yeah.
I was thinking about, to wrap up, whenever you said, like, we got to get out the church walls. I'm like, sometimes I think it's the problem because the mission field isn't really at the church, right? But I'm like, how beautiful is it that God created the church for us to come back to, right? Because all week long, if we need encouragement, if we need someone to hold us, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we need someone to
Yeah.
sharpen us for a second, like if I can come to church and be like, I've just had a week and this happened, or the Lord's been saying this to me. You know what I mean? Like, what a beautiful place that He has given us for all of us to come together and worship, to pray together, to share hearts together, and then to go out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
the
Sweet.
gifting
Yeah.
of the church for me has healed so much
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
what has hurt me.
Well, it
Yeah.
creates the person that is able to go out.
yes. Yeah.
It creates the one.
100%.
It equips the one
Yeah.
to go out to do the work of the Lord.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
huge. That's
Yes.
vital.
Yeah.
Healthy
I think-
local
yeah.
churches are vital
Yeah.
100%.
to God's mission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People wouldn't be sent out
No.
without the local church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
of this life, right? We're all in this battle that we don't see it as a battle, right? But we're on a battlefield. And the infirmary or the hospital, like that's the church. Like you go there to get sharpened. You go there to get healing. You go there to your fellow believers, right? Your community of people, right? You go there to get help. But there's still people on the battlefield, right? You still have to go back out to the battlefield.
Yeah.
There's people on the other side, right, that don't even know what you carry on your side, that you need to go and not fight but rescue.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think about it like that, And it helps me in a sense, like, I think, what is a non-believer? I think that's a big question. It's a really big question.
I know.
But I think it's people, in my brain, it's people that don't understand the light that they carry inside of them, or don't even know that it's there.
Yes. I
Right?
love that answer.
But how are they going to know? You know, like, yes, we hear these stories, and I'm hearing them a lot coming out of like the Middle East, where Jesus is quite literally revealing himself to people.
Yeah.
Beautiful, amazing that God is doing that for that area of the world.
Yeah.
That's how he's choosing to reach those people. But here, it's us. We are the church. We are the messengers of the gospel, right? It was never meant for me to just share with you. It's for me to share with everyone, right? Like, I go back home to my family who's mostly unsaved, and I can't go right in and have the conversation with them because it'll shut them down immediately. But I serve them. I serve them. They notice how I move in kindness, how I rationalize, how I consider them. And I believe in doing that, right? And some will disagree. Some will say, no, you got to preach the gospel to them. You got to bust your Bible out and beat them over the head with it. And for some people, you do have to do that, and they will receive that. But for me, I know with them, it's a lot more in what I do and not what I say.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing about evangelism and outreach ministry. Like, some evangelism is like, I got these tracts and I'm going to go door to door knocking at people and anyone that, but outreach evangelism is
different.
How can I serve you?
Yeah.
I don't care how lowly the world looks at you.
Yeah.
You have value in my eyes, and how can I serve you?
Good, Emmy.
How can I invest in you in the way where you see the greatness that is inside of you, what you were created for? And that's why I'm constantly like, God, it can't be about me. It can't be only about me. Please don't let me get to a place where it's just about me, because there's so many more people out there that need to know you,
So good, Emmy.
that need to know that you're not just a God of wrath, that you're a God of mercy and grace and justice.
Yeah.
And we have to be those voices that carry that to people. And like, yes, God he can reach anyone that he wants to. He can do anything. But what are we here for if we're not here to do that? You know, what are we here for? What are we teaching the generations that are coming up? Like, is it a self-centered gospel? I don't want that.
Yeah.
I don't want that, because that's not how I was shaped in my faith, that it was only about me.
Yeah.
And I never want to get to that place where it's all about me. Like,
Yeah.
I've had those seasons where it's
It's
my
miserable.
prayers is all about me. And I'm like, what? When did this happen? And we need to stop it. Like, it can't only be about me. It can't only be about my family. It can't only be about my church. Like, it goes back to our pastor. He preached a sermon recently, and I won't forget it,
Yeah.
where he said, are you focused on building your castle, or you're focused on building the kingdom? And I'm like, okay. All
That's
right,
good.
Lord.
I know.
It's good.
But yeah.
Oh, man.
All right, we got to wrap it up.
All right,
Yeah,
I
I
could
know.
sit here forever and
I
talk
know.
to Emmy.
I know.
I know. All right. Well,
All
thanks
right.
for sharing your whole heart.
Thanks for being
Thanks.
here,
So
Em.
good.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I love you guys.
All right.
I
Love
wish
you,
we had
Emmy.
3 hours.
I know.
Next time.
Next
All
time.
right.